They will never admit it, but it's true. They lost. The ones who quietly hoped you'd fall apart have run out of moves. Their plans went nowhere. Their patience wore thin. Their confidence turned into fatigue. They came at you with everything they had, and still, chosen one, it's over. Whatever storm that was, it has passed, and you will never have to stand inside it again. Notice the quiet around you right now. It isn't the same quiet as before. The kind where you braced yourself, unsure if you'd make it through. The kind that sat in your chest like a held breath. This is a different silence. This is the stillness that settles in after a war actually ends, not the tense hush of a war still being fought. And it unsettles them, because it means they no longer have any hold on you. You may have spent months, maybe years, learning to tell those two silences apart, without even realizing that's what you were doing. The old one made your shoulders tense the second a room went quiet. This one lets your shoulders drop. If you can feel that difference in your body right now, chosen one, trust it. Your body usually knows the truth of a season before your mind fully catches up to it. They're still watching, quietly, from wherever they've retreated to, checking, wondering how you're not just surviving but somehow doing better than before. That was never supposed to happen. They pictured you fading into the background, smaller, quieter, easier to forget. Instead, chosen one, you're still here, visible, upright, unbothered. And the loop that kept repeating in your life has finally snapped in a way it cannot repair itself. Ask yourself why that bothers them so much. It's simple. They wrote an ending for you in their heads a long time ago, and you refuse to perform it. Every day you keep living the life they didn't script for you is a small, quiet insult to their expectations. That's not something you have to try to do. It's just a side effect of being okay. Before we go further, if this message found you today, that's not by accident. Like this video, subscribe, and stay connected to this circle of chosen ones. This isn't just a video, it's a signal, and the more of us keep it moving, the more people it reaches at exactly the right moment. Here's what's actually happened, and I want you to really sit with this instead of rushing past it. The release you stopped expecting, the ending you quietly gave up hoping for. It's already here. It didn't arrive with fireworks or an announcement. It arrived quietly, the way real endings usually do, while you were busy just trying to get through the day. That door has shut, and it isn't opening again. Something bigger than any person involved rearranged the path ahead of you and marked it, unmistakably, with your name. Maybe you noticed the exact moment it happened. Maybe you didn't, and it only makes sense in hindsight, looking back at a string of ordinary days that quietly added up to something completely different than what came before. Either way, chosen one, the timing of your noticing doesn't change the fact of it. The shift already happened. You're simply catching up to something that's already true. Whatever they still try to say about you, whatever old wounds they wave in your direction hoping to drag a reaction out of you, none of it can pull you back into what you've already outgrown. You are not the same shape you were when that chapter began. You cannot fit back into a story that was written for a smaller version of you. Think of it like trying to put on a jacket you wore years ago, back before you'd grown into who you are now. It simply doesn't fit anymore, no matter how familiar the fabric feels in your hands. That's what an old conflict feels like when someone tries to hand it back to you after you've already moved past it. It's not that you're refusing to engage out of stubbornness. It's that the shape of that old argument genuinely doesn't fit the person you've become. Feel that calm settling into your chest. That's not weakness. A lot of people mistake stillness for surrender, but stillness after a fight is not surrender. It's what the other side of a war actually feels like. No more chains dragging behind you everywhere you go. No more replaying the same pain on a loop, waking up in the same argument, bracing for the same disappointment dressed in a new outfit. Chosen one, you were freed from the role they kept trying to force you back into, and freedom like that doesn't come with an expiration date. Think about how much of your energy used to go into simply surviving the next round. That energy has to go somewhere now that it isn't being spent on bracing and recovering. Some of it is probably already showing up in places you haven't fully noticed yet. A little more patience with yourself. A little more room to actually enjoy something instead of just getting through it. That's not a coincidence. That's what's left over, once a war stops taking a cut of every single day. And here's the part that matters most. The part I want you to actually carry with you after this video ends. You will never have to go through that specific season again. Not because life stops testing people. It doesn't, and I won't lie to you and tell you it does. But because that particular chapter, that particular kind of pain, served its purpose completely. It taught you what it came to teach. It proved what needed proving. And now it is permanently, irreversibly closed. Congratulations, it's finished. And chosen one, if you're ready to actually leave that season behind instead of just saying you are, drop the words, "It's over," in the comments right now. Not as a performance for anyone else, but as a declaration to yourself. Then let's go deeper. Because understanding why it can't come back is where the real freedom actually lives, not just in feeling relieved, but in knowing, with certainty, that the door is sealed. Number 1. The cage they built for you has rusted shut. They never wanted to beat you just once. A single defeat wasn't enough for what they had planned. What they wanted was a loop. The same wound wearing a different face over and over. A cage disguised as ordinary life, until you finally gave up trying to get free, and just accepted it as your permanent condition. That was the entire plan from the start. Not one blow, a cycle. But here's what they didn't account for. A loop only works on someone who hasn't caught on yet. The moment you stopped folding, stopped bracing, stopped expecting the next hit before it even came, the whole mechanism lost its grip on you. Ask yourself honestly, why did the same kind of pain keep circling back wearing new names, new faces, new situations, but always the same shape underneath? That was never coincidence. That was a machine running the only program it knew how to run. And machines break when the fuel runs out. You stopped feeding it your fear. You stopped feeding it your hopelessness. You stopped handing over your surrender every time it demanded another round. The cage is still standing out there somewhere. Technically, the bars are still bent into the same shape, but the lock doesn't catch anymore, and a cage that won't lock isn't a cage. It's just old metal rusting in the rain. They've already used their best material on you, and it didn't hold. Their sharpest trick, their favorite setup, their most reliable weapon. All spent, all failed. That means whatever is left in their arsenal is weaker than what already didn't work. Chosen one, you didn't just survive the cage. You disarmed it from the inside, and now it can't hold anyone, least of all you. Think about how many times they must have expected the lock to catch again. How many times they assumed the next round would land the way it always used to. They kept applying old pressure to a mechanism that had already given out, and each time nothing happened, it confused them a little more. That confusion is the sound of a strategy running out of road. And chosen one, you don't owe the old cage a single explanation for why it stopped working. It simply did, because you stopped being the kind of person it was built to hold. There's something almost comical, in hindsight, about watching someone keep rattling a lock that clearly isn't catching anymore. They try the same key. They try it harder. They try it at a different angle, convinced the problem is technique rather than the fact that the whole design has failed. You don't have to point that out to them. You can just keep walking, unlocked, while they keep working the same broken mechanism behind you. Number 2, the lease on your suffering has expired. Pain likes to pretend it's permanent. It never introduces itself honestly. It never says, "I'll be here for a season and then I'll go." It says forever, and for a long time, in the middle of it, you believed that. You had every reason to. It didn't feel like a chapter. It felt like the whole book. But nothing that entered your life without your permission gets to stay without an end date. Every hard season, no matter how endless it felt while you were living inside it, comes with terms. A beginning, an assignment, and an expiration. Even the seasons that never showed you the fine print. Even the ones where nobody handed you a contract to read. And chosen one, your term is up. The paperwork on this one, whether you ever got to see it or not, has been closed. Picture it like a tenant who overstayed their welcome. It moved in, uninvited, made itself comfortable in rooms you never offered it, acted like it owned the place, rearranged the furniture of your life without asking. But a lease is still a lease, even an unspoken one. Once the lesson embedded in that suffering was actually learned, the terms were fulfilled, and the locks changed whether the tenant agreed to leave quietly or not. It doesn't get to argue its way back in. It can knock. It can rattle the door. It can show up disguised as an old fear whispering, "What if this happens again?" But knocking on a door that's already been sealed doesn't open it. The eviction already happened. You already moved on. And chosen one, what's done cannot unhappen, no matter how loudly the old suffering wishes it could. Notice how differently you respond now when that old fear knocks. You don't rush to let it back in, out of habit the way you might have once. You recognize the knock for what it is, a tenant trying to reclaim a room that's already been rented out to something better. The lease is filed. The terms are settled. And nothing about how loudly the past protests changes the paperwork that's already been signed and sealed on your behalf. Some nights it might still knock softly, out of old habit more than any real claim. You're allowed to hear it and not answer. Hearing an old fear is not the same as inviting it back in. And chosen one, the fact that you can tell those two things apart now is proof of exactly how far you've moved past needing to let it stay. Number 3. You carried a weight that wasn't only yours to carry. Some of what broke you didn't actually start with you. It moved quietly through your family, through your line, through history you never chose, disguised as normal life. The same setback repeating, the same collapse, generation after generation, waiting patiently for someone strong enough to finally absorb it and refuse to pass it any further forward. That someone turned out to be you, not because you volunteered, because you happened to be strong enough when the moment arrived. That's why it felt heavier than it reasonably should have. Ask yourself, why did it feel like you were being punished for things you never actually did? Because you weren't only living your own life during that season. You were the wall standing between an old destructive pattern and everyone who was going to come after you. The pain was multiplied, not because you were being singled out cruelly, but because it wasn't only about you. Think of it like a relay race, where every runner before you dropped the baton somewhere along the track, and it just kept rolling forward on its own, until someone finally picked it up and carried it across the actual finish line, instead of dropping it again. That baton landed in your hands, whether you asked for it or not, and you did something none of the runners before you managed to do. You didn't just survive carrying it. You finished the race with it. It's strange to think about how much of what felt uniquely personal was in fact part of something much older than you. The details felt specific to your life, your relationships, your circumstances, your particular version of hardship. But underneath the specifics ran a much older shape, one that had been repeating for longer than anyone currently alive could remember. Chosen one, you didn't just live your own story. You quietly rewrote the ending of a much longer one, and that rewrite holds for everyone who comes after. The debt is paid now. Whoever comes after you, the people you love, the people connected to your story, inherits something lighter because of what you carried and refused to pass forward. That's not a small thing, chosen one. That's the kind of victory that outlives you. You may never get thanked for it. Most people who break a pattern never do, because the people who benefit from a lighter inheritance usually never know how heavy the version before them actually was. That's fine. That was never the point. The point was that the pattern stops here, with you, instead of continuing on to someone who never asked to carry it either. You closed a loop that had been open longer than your own lifetime, and that closure is permanent, whether anyone ever acknowledges it or not. Think about the shape of a pattern that's been running for generations, quietly repeating in different decades with different names attached to the same wound. It doesn't announce itself as generational. It just feels like your specific bad luck, your specific hard year, your specific unlucky family. But patterns that old don't stop themselves. They need someone to actually absorb the impact fully enough that it has nowhere left to travel. Chosen one, that absorption already happened. The line stops here, and it stops because of you, whether or not the people downstream from you ever know the size of what they were spared. Number 4. What was meant to poison you got turned into fuel instead. They aimed to leave you bitter, predictable, easy to manipulate the second time, because you'd still be nursing the same open wound from the first. That was the actual goal, not just to hurt you, but to leave you permanently vulnerable to the same kind of hurt again. Instead, something in you took what should have wrecked you completely and burned it into something usable, something that works in your favor now instead of against you. Ask yourself honestly, why didn't it finish you off the way it was supposed to? Because enduring something is one thing, and a lot of people manage that much. But transforming it, actually converting the poison into fuel instead of just surviving its aftertaste, is a different thing entirely. And it's the second one, the transformation, that makes you nearly impossible to hurt the same way twice. Think of raw, broken metal forced through fire until it hardens into something completely different than what it started as. It screams under the heat. It bends before it holds its new shape. But what comes out the other side doesn't behave like the soft, breakable thing that went in. That's what happened here, Chosen One. The very thing meant to destroy you built the exact parts of you that now cannot be destroyed the same way. No one chooses that particular fire willingly. Given the option beforehand, you probably would have picked an easier road if one had been offered to you. It wasn't. But the road you actually walked left you with something the easier one never would have. A kind of density, a kind of weight to your presence that only comes from having been through something and coming out the other side intact. Look at your scars honestly, without the shame you might have carried before. They aren't proof of defeat. They're the signature of something that survived a process most things don't survive intact. And now, whatever they try to use against you, they're using tools that already failed on the upgraded version of you. That's the part that actually stings for them, if you think about it. They spent their sharpest material trying to break you down, and instead of leaving you weaker, it left you equipped. The exact thing they thought would be your undoing turned into raw material they no longer control, because it belongs to you now. Fully converted, fully yours. There's no getting that back once the transformation is complete. It's worth naming clearly what they lost in the process, because they lost more than they realize. They lost the element of surprise. They lost the specific vulnerability they used to be able to count on. And they lost the version of you who might have handed the poison right back over without noticing what it was doing. None of those things come back once they're gone, Chosen One, no matter how badly they wish for the old, unguarded version of you to return. Number 5. They used their strongest shot, and it still wasn't enough. They didn't hold anything back. Everything came at once. Every setback, every betrayal, every attempt to catch you exactly when you were already at your lowest and least offended. That wasn't random chaos scattered across your life by bad luck. That was a final, calculated push, a deliberate stacking of every weapon they had, because they were betting everything that it would end things for good this time. It didn't. Ask yourself, why did it feel like an all-out war with no pause, no breath, no mercy in between? Because that's exactly what it was. They emptied everything they had into that one season, convinced it would be enough. And there is nothing left in the chamber that's stronger than what already missed its mark completely. Imagine an army that fires its very last round, absolutely certain it will end the war on the spot, only to watch the person they were aiming at still standing there, unbothered, when the smoke clears. That's what happened here. They fired their deadliest shot. And Chosen One, you are still standing, which means whatever comes next from them is, by definition, weaker than what already failed. There's a certain finality in watching someone realize their best effort already came and went, without accomplishing what they needed it to. They don't get to build up to another last attempt after that, because the whole point of a last attempt is that it only happens once. Chosen One, you already lived through theirs. Whatever they try from here forward is simply an aftershock of something that already failed to move you. If the worst they had didn't take you down, nothing smaller will manage it either. Whatever they still have left is just an echo of a weapon that already proved it doesn't work on you. Their playbook is finished, and they know it, even if they never say it out loud. There's a strange kind of peace that comes from knowing the worst has already happened, and you're still here. You don't have to brace for some hypothetical bigger blow anymore, because there wasn't a bigger one. That was it. That was everything. And Chosen One, once you know you've already faced the ceiling of what they're capable of, everything smaller stops carrying the same weight it used to. That peace takes a little while to settle in fully, and that's normal. Part of you might still flinch at loud noises that resemble the old pattern, even after the actual threat has passed. Give that part of you time. It fought hard, and it takes a while for a nervous system to believe the war is genuinely finished even after the mind already knows it. But Chosen One, it will catch up. The evidence is on your side, and evidence eventually wins out over old habit. Number 6. You moved somewhere their reach doesn't extend to anymore. Surviving didn't just leave you standing in the same spot, a little battered but okay. It relocated you entirely. It shifted you into a space where their reach, their tricks, their favorite triggers simply don't land the way they used to. And it's not because you got lucky, or because they suddenly grew kinder. You're simply not standing where they left you anymore. Have you noticed how insults that once wrecked your entire week now barely register as noise? How old temptations don't pull at you with the same gravity? That's not distance you're imagining. That's elevation. Your survival moved you to a different frequency altogether, one their old signals simply can't reach. It's worth pointing out that elevation doesn't mean you became untouchable in some absolute sense, immune to every hard feeling forever. It means the specific frequency they used to broadcast on doesn't reach you anymore, because you're simply tuned somewhere else now. New things can still affect you, but the old signal, the one they relied on for so long, has nowhere left to land. Imagine a radio station broadcasting static into a room. You used to be tuned right into that exact frequency, and every bit of noise found you instantly. Now you're somewhere else on the dial entirely, and the same broadcast just passes through empty air, unheard, because you're simply not listening on that channel anymore. Chosen one, they're still out there, still transmitting the same old signal, wondering why it doesn't land. It's not because the signal got weaker, it's because you moved, and you're not going back to where they can still find you. Some people mistake this distance for indifference, like you simply stopped caring. That's not quite it. It's more that the version of you who could be reached at that old frequency genuinely doesn't exist in the same place anymore. You didn't build a wall. You relocated entirely, and walls can be climbed. Relocation can't be undone by persistence alone. That's worth repeating because it's easy to forget in a hard moment. A wall implies you're still nearby, just behind something. Relocation means you're simply somewhere else, and no amount of pushing on a wall that isn't there changes your actual location. Chosen one, they can keep pushing on the old spot all they want. You already moved. There's nothing left there for them to push against. Number 7. Your system learned to recognize the threat before it arrives. The first time it happened, you had no defenses built up yet. It caught you completely off guard, found the cracks you didn't even know you had, and did damage before you had any chance to brace for it. That's why it felt so unbearable. You were facing something with zero preparation. But nothing that blindsides you gets to blindside you the same way twice. Somewhere in the process of surviving it, your system built an internal alarm that didn't exist before. Ask yourself, have you noticed how quickly you sense a shift in a room now, before anyone even says a word? How a lie sounds hollow to you before the person even finishes the sentence. That's not anxiety, and it's not paranoia either. That's evidence that your system already fought this exact battle once, and came out the other side knowing exactly what it's looking for. Think of it like a body that survived an infection, and now carries antibodies it didn't have before. The next exposure doesn't get the same foothold, because your system already knows the shape of the threat, and shuts it down before it can spread. It's a strange kind of gift, this early warning system, one you never asked to develop and would have preferred not to need in the first place. But it's yours now, earned the hard way, and there's no reason to feel guilty about using it. A smoke detector doesn't apologize for going off. It simply does the job it was built, through hard experience, to do. That immunity is permanent, chosen one. Whatever tries to use the same old trick on you now is walking straight into a defense system it doesn't know has already been upgraded. It's almost funny, in a quiet way, watching an old tactic get deployed again, as if it hasn't already been studied and understood. You see it coming several steps before it arrives now, not because you're suspicious of everyone, but because you've simply been trained by experience to recognize a specific shape when it approaches. That training doesn't wear off. It only sharpens with time. This is also why it matters that you don't confuse recognizing danger with expecting it everywhere. The gift here isn't fear, chosen one. It's discernment, the ability to tell the difference between something familiar and something threatening without treating every unfamiliar thing as a repeat of the past. That distinction is what separates real immunity from ongoing anxiety, and you've earned the former. Number 8. What almost ended you became proof that you can't be. They swung the hardest blow they had, fully expecting it to be the final one, the one that would finally close the story the way they wanted it closed. It wasn't. And a final blow that fails leaves a mark, not on you, but on the record of what actually happened. Everyone who watched you make it through knows something now that simply can't be unknown again. You are harder to end than anyone assumed, including the people who were counting on a different outcome. That's not a small shift. That's permanent. Imagine a soldier who returns from the worst battle of the war, scarred but alive, and everyone who sees them instantly understands something without needing an explanation. This person faced fire and lived. You don't have to carry yourself like a soldier all the time now, constantly on guard, constantly ready for the next confrontation. That was necessary once. It isn't anymore. What you get to carry instead is the quiet knowledge that you already met the worst version of this fight and are still here, which frees you up to simply be a person living a life, rather than a person perpetually bracing for battle. That's you now, chosen one. What should have been the end of your story became, instead, the proof written into the record that your story didn't end there. And once that proof exists, it can't be erased or argued away. Their deadliest attempt already happened, already failed, and already became evidence working entirely in your favor. You don't have to keep bringing that proof up yourself either. It speaks quietly on its own, in the way you show up now, in the fact that you're simply still here doing ordinary things, after something that wasn't supposed to allow for an after. That's a kind of testimony that doesn't need to be argued in words. Some people spend years trying to explain to others exactly how bad it was, hoping for validation that never quite lands the way they need it to. Chosen one, you don't need that validation the way you might have once. Your life itself is the argument now. Anyone paying close enough attention already sees it, and the ones who refuse to see it were never going to be convinced by an explanation either. Let your continued existence make the case instead of your words. Number 9. You lived through the version of the story that wasn't supposed to have a you in it. By every reasonable expectation, that season should have finished you completely. The weight of it, the timing of it, the way it stacked one loss on top of another, none of it should have left room for you to still be standing here. But it didn't finish you, and now your continued presence in the story is its own kind of undeniable evidence. Ask yourself, why do certain people seem to look at you differently now, even if they never say why? It's because your very existence quietly contradicts what they expected. The plan didn't work the way it was supposed to. The story didn't go the direction it was written to go. And chosen one, you're still here writing new chapters, while the people who bet against you are stuck rereading the ending that never actually happened. There's a particular kind of quiet respect that shows up around people who survived something visible, even when no one says it out loud. You may have felt it already. A slight shift in how certain rooms treat you. A slight hesitation before anyone tries the old approach again. That's not your imagination. That's people, consciously or not, recalibrating around the fact that you're simply not who they assumed you'd remain. Imagine a building leveled completely by an explosion, dust and debris everywhere, and then, out of that wreckage, one figure walks out completely upright. That's the contradiction you represent now. Not because you're invincible in some magical sense, but because you happen to be the exception to a rule that was supposed to apply to you too. Being the exception isn't always comfortable. It can make people around you uneasy, because your presence quietly disproves something they'd rather have believed. But chosen one, their discomfort with your continued existence is not your responsibility to manage. You're simply here, living proof that the ending they wrote never actually got published. You might even notice certain people going quiet around you now, unsure how to relate to a version of you they didn't plan for. Let them adjust in their own time, or not at all. That's not your job to fix. Your only job was to still be here, and you've already done that better than anyone expected, including, quite possibly, yourself in your hardest moments. Number 10. The record closed itself, and there's no reopening it. For a long time, it felt like that hard season would never actually conclude, like proof had to keep piling up endlessly before anything would finally change. And in a strange way, maybe it did. Maybe every sleepless night added another page to a file that had to be completed before the ruling could come down. But once it was enough for good. Ask yourself, why did it seem to drag on longer than it should have? Because endurance had to actually be proven, not just claimed. Strength had to be revealed under real pressure, not just talked about. And once that record was full, the case closed permanently, with no clause anywhere that allows it to reopen. Imagine a thick case file, stamped in bold letters, closed, do not reopen. That's your life now, chosen one. What tried to claim permanent residence inside your story has been formally, irreversibly asked to leave, and the request stands regardless of how loudly it protests. There's no appeal process for a case that's already been settled this thoroughly. Some part of you might still brace for a reopening that isn't coming. That instinct will fade with time, not because you force it to, but because nothing shows up to justify it anymore. Eventually, the bracing itself becomes unnecessary, and you simply live without checking over your shoulder for a ruling that's already final. There's a version of freedom that only exists in theory, and a version that shows up in your actual daily habits. The way you stop flinching at a phone call. The way an old name doesn't send your stomach dropping the way it once did. Chosen one. That second kind of freedom takes longer to fully arrive, but it always follows the first kind eventually. The ruling came down. Your nervous system is just finishing the paperwork. Number 11. What you went through changed who you are, not just what you survived down. This wasn't simply a test you passed and then moved on from unchanged, the way you'd finish an exam and forget the material a week later. It was something closer to a threshold, the kind you don't cross twice, because you genuinely don't come back the same person on the other side of it. Ask yourself, why did that particular season feel so personal, so precisely aimed at exactly the parts of you that were most vulnerable? Because you weren't just being tested, you were being remade, stripped down to the raw material underneath, so that every weakness could be reforged into something sturdier. Imagine a sword being hammered against an anvil, over and over, the heat not meant as punishment, but as transformation. That's what happened to you. You don't need anyone to confirm that shift happened out loud. It shows in how you carry yourself now, quietly, without needing to explain it to a single person. There's no going back to the raw material you were before the hammering started, and honestly, you wouldn't want to. What you are now moves through the world differently. Sturdier, less easily rattled, harder to talk out of your own certainty. That's not something you performed your way into. It was forged, and forged things don't unforge themselves. It's worth being honest, too, that the process wasn't fair, and nothing about this is meant to suggest the fire was a gift you should be grateful for in some simple way. It was hard, and it cost you things you can't fully get back. But chosen one, what you built out of that unfairness is real, and it belongs to you now regardless of how unjust the process that produced it actually was. Number 12. They spent more trying to shake you than you ever spent recovering. Look at the math here honestly, without exaggerating it in either direction. You lived your life. You went to work, you rested, you kept moving forward at whatever pace you could manage. Meanwhile, they spent time, energy, and constant attention, plotting, scheming, trying to find the exact angle that would finally disrupt you. That kind of investment runs out eventually, because nothing sustains itself forever on pure resentment. Ask yourself, why does it feel like their attempts have gotten weaker, more predictable, almost tired? It's because they've been running on a kind of debt this whole time, and debts eventually come due. They've burned through resources you never even had to spend, chosen one, because you were simply living while they were plotting. Meanwhile, you kept adding to your own account without even trying. A little more peace here, a little more stability there, small, ordinary days stacking up into an actual life. That imbalance doesn't correct itself in their favor. It just widens, quietly, the longer you keep choosing to live instead of react. This is why time itself works against them, and for you, without you having to do anything dramatic to make it happen. Every ordinary day you spend building something is a day they spend depleting something. Chosen one, you don't need to keep score out loud. The gap is already widening on its own, and it will keep widening for as long as you simply keep living your life, instead of getting pulled back into theirs. Number 13. Your steadiness is the one thing they never planned for. Anger, they knew exactly how to provoke. Tears, they knew precisely how to use against you later. Those reactions gave them something to work with, something to point to, something to twist into a story about you. But calm, the kind that isn't a performance, just a plain fact about who you've become, doesn't hand them anything to use. Have you noticed how much quieter your reactions have gotten? Not out of suppression, but because there's genuinely less left to react to? That absence of a reaction says more than any confrontation ever could. It tells them, without a single word, that whatever they're still trying to provoke simply isn't there to provoke anymore. They might even push harder for a while, testing to see if the old reaction is still buried somewhere underneath the calm. It isn't. And chosen one, the day they finally accept that, is the day they stop trying altogether. Because there's no point provoking someone who has genuinely stopped being provocable. That day might take a while to arrive, and in the meantime, you may still feel a familiar pull whenever the old pattern gets attempted again. Feeling the pull is not the same as following it. You're allowed to notice an old instinct rise up and choose, deliberately, not to act on it. That choice, repeated enough times, is exactly what steadiness actually looks like up close. Not the absence of temptation, but the quiet decision not to take the bait. Number 14. You're not recovering anymore, you're just living. There's a real, tangible difference between the season where you're still patching yourself back together every single day and the season where you've simply, quietly moved on with your life without needing to announce it. You've crossed into the second one, chosen one, even if you didn't notice the exact moment it happened. This isn't the aftermath of barely making it through. This is just what your life looks like now, on the other side of everything that was supposed to be the permanent end of your story. The battlefield is behind you. The constant bracing for the next hit has stopped. Not because you got lucky, but because there's genuinely nothing left out there capable of landing the same blow twice. Ordinary days will start to feel less like a reprieve, and more like simply your life again. Mornings that don't start with dread, evenings that don't end with replaying old arguments. That shift, from surviving to living, is quiet, and it's easy to miss the exact moment it happens. But chosen one, once you notice it, you'll realize it's already been true for longer than you thought. It's worth marking this moment for yourself somehow, even quietly, even just in your own mind. Not because you need to prove anything to anyone else, but because you deserve to actually register that something enormous just shifted. So many hard seasons pass without anyone acknowledging when they actually ended. Let this be the acknowledgement. Let this be the moment you actually let yourself believe it's over, instead of quietly waiting for a catch that isn't coming. And if you're still not fully convinced, that's all right too. Belief doesn't have to arrive all at once. It's allowed to build slowly, one ordinary, undisturbed day at a time, until eventually you look back and realize you've been living in the after for a while now, without even noticing the exact date it began. That's not a small kind of victory, chosen one. That's the quiet, unglamorous, entirely real kind. The only kind that actually lasts. Closing. Chosen one. None of this needed their apology, their admission, or an audience watching to become true. It already happened. Quietly. Without permission. Without anyone announcing it. Congratulations. It's done. And there is no version of that chapter that gets to reopen, no matter how long they stand outside the door. Take a moment before you close this video to actually feel what's being said here, instead of letting it pass by like background noise. You made it through something that was designed, in one way or another, to be the end of your story. It wasn't. You're still here, and being still here after everything is not a small, forgettable fact. It's the entire point. Let that fact sit with you a little longer than usual, past the point where you'd normally move on to the next thing. Most endings don't get a proper moment of recognition. Give yourself one now, deliberately, chosen one, because you earned it the hard way, one difficult day at a time, and it deserves more than a passing thought before you scroll on to whatever comes next. Whatever they expected, whatever version of your ending they had already written in their heads long before it was ever going to happen, none of it matched what actually happened. You didn't just survive quietly in a corner somewhere, waiting for permission to move on. You moved on. You kept building. You kept showing up for your own life, even on the days that felt impossible, even on the nights that felt like they'd never end. And chosen one, that ordinary, unglamorous persistence, is exactly what closed the door behind you for good. There is no clause anywhere that allows that season to repeat itself in the same form. Not because life becomes easy from here forward. It won't always be, and no one who tells you otherwise is being honest with you. But that particular fight, that particular wait, that particular war, is finished. What comes next may still be hard sometimes, but it will never again be that. And that distinction matters more than it might seem to right now. So take a breath. Let your shoulders actually drop, not just for a moment, but as a new baseline. You crossed something most people never have to face, and you're still standing, still whole, still yours. That's not luck. That's not chance. That's the direct result of every single day you refused to disappear the way they expected you to. If you're claiming this for yourself, drop a shame. It's over, in the comments below. And if this message reached you at exactly the right moment, you already know what to do. Like this video, subscribe, and pass it along to someone else who's still standing in the middle of their own storm, waiting for the quiet to finally come. You made it. Chosen one, you actually made it.